Good morning, guys. How are we doing? Today's video, for once, I'm going to do a serious video. I can't get it up. And, you know, I'm 57. I'm going to have a testosterone injection. I want to say the blood pressure I had was very, very high. I've got to have an estrogen blocker, which is to help prevent build-ups. I'm not sure understanding what's going on inside my body.
Sorry, what was your name?
My name is Patient Zero. How you doing, guys? Welcome back to Coffee and Juice. So you can see by the introduction, you know, as a fellow YouTuber and now this guy's neighbor, I feel it's my duty to kind of help this guy out and lead him in the right direction. And in turn, it might help you in some type of way. So a vector of my channel is that for the last 17 years, I've been a patient, hence the name Patient Zero, for testosterone replacement. So now I was doing testosterone replacement when it used to be called a wellness clinic. We're talking 17 years ago, you know, 2 decades. So one thing I want to say is that why this is interesting is that you got to give this man some credit, number one. I know he has a large following, but for him to come out with humility and say, look, you know, I've had a problem like this for quite some time, you know, erectile dysfunction, and I want to please my wife, you know, bravo to him. And that's why I'm kind of doing this video, because it needs a supplement, because him and the rest of the viewers, hopefully to become subscribers, can get something out of the information. So let's talk about metabolic syndrome, and let's talk about this guy's high blood pressure. So now, normally in the United States, if you were around 60 years old and you basically said to a doctor, look, you know, I'm having these issues, my testosterone is 528 nanograms per deciliter, the guy would basically laugh you out of the office and tell you whatever he's going to tell you, because I have a multitude of stories of guys Trevor's age that have gone through the same process. So one good thing about being in Thailand is that at least this guy's willing to treat Trevor. So now the first thing Trevor has to realize is that his blood pressure may be the culprit behind his erectile dysfunction. So there could be a vascular issue going on. And then once again, I get back to metabolic syndrome. Now, if you're not sure what that is, it's your A1C, what your liver look like. It's basically your comprehensive blood panel that they're going to look at. And then also when it comes to ED, when you look at his protocol, and once again, I'm going to try to do this as rapidly as possible. They're already giving him an estrogen blocker. So here's one of the problems. You know, it always goes back to a problem with me, is that was his estrogen completely out of whack? Meaning that to understand ED with testosterone and estradiol, you have to realize that if you kill your estrogen, or your estrogen is like 200-300, your pishka deal will not work. So that's why there's a middle ground that we try to get to. And once again, I'm not a doctor, but I've been a patient for a long time. So now, when we talk about being clinically hypogonadal, so now if you're in the United States, because most of my viewers come from there, if you are not 249 nanograms per deciliter, your insurance will not deem you to have a medical condition. And if you got 250 testosterone, you're basically a dead man walking, but nobody cares. And that's a conversation for another day. So the estrogen blocker right off the bat, I think is a mistake. The one thing I do like, if you watch this guy's video, and I recommend that you do, is, I apologize, I got a little bit of a cold, but I'm trying to power through this for you guys, is that what I like is that they're bringing in Trevor every month to do his blood work. For a lot of my younger guys, you're going to be like, you know what? That's overkill. But you got to look at it like this. If Trevor has high blood pressure, other issues going on, they want to monitor this guy in such a way that just in case something gets out of whack, they can either stop treatment or make alterations. So I really like that about the approach. The only thing I thought was strange, and I want you to hear me out regarding dosage and protocols. They're bringing this guy in twice a week. Now, I'm assuming, I don't know his medicinal protocol, is that they're probably giving him 0.5 cypionate or enanthate twice a week. So they're probably giving him like 1 mg a week just to see how he reacts, because he's already at 528. So now, I'm not a doctor, but what I recommend Trevor should ask for, because he's not familiar about this world, that if I was his doctor and we want his Brajol to work better, we want to get his test probably up to around 12 to 1300 with ideal estrogen. Then we're also going to administer about 5 to 10 milligrams of tadalafil, which I recommend over the others. And then also we need to look at, going forward, how he responds, because also when you hop on blood pressure medication, which apparently he needs, that can also kill the gains in the bedroom, right? So boys, so can't hide from anybody out here. So as being Trevor's neighbor, I want him to consider a couple of things. And also for you, because the bulk of my subscribers are from 35 to 65 plus, and you guys may be considering jumping on TRT. So there's a lot of moving pieces, meaning as you get older, I would recommend you having an army of doctors, a cardiologist, an endo alongside a TRT clinic if possible, to oversee what's going on with you. And a sonogram of your organs wouldn't help if you've never done it. Now, as you hear me talk, and if you're familiar with the space of anabolics and hormone replacement, it gets expensive. But the thing is that your first time attending a clinic, or your milestone of that first time, is where you should try to run every single test, because there's something called longitudinal data, which means that in 2024, if we went to 2027, we can see exactly the metrics on you. And that would be important to see if there's changes for the good or for the worse. So Coffee and Juice hopefully got something out of it. This guy Trevor seems like a real nice guy. He's got a big following. I also like the fact that he's a mongerer and he owns a bar. And, hopefully some of this information helps. Be mindful of the DHT blockers. And sometimes a cookie cutter approach could work. But as you get older, each case is nuanced, where you might need to either subtract or add something to the protocol. Okay, so Coffee and Juice, have a great day. Keep yourself healthy and keep yourself safe.